weird things that have like been open questions, and I think I finally have good answers for some of the things.
Awesome.
Okay, what can I do for you?
So I tried to do the tuning thing. Is there any chance that you could post one of your files for your what's it called? Config. The one where it writes to the all your heater variables. Hold on. Config override.
Yes, I can send it directly to you, because sending the config override would be weird. Or attaching it to the main repo would be weird.
Oh, right. No, I just wanted to see what it looks like, because right now I don't think mine looks right, and I don't understand why.
Okay. Did you follow the instructions on the wiki?
I did. I don't think there's any problem with your instructions. It might be Duet 3, or it might be something else.
Okay, let me take a look. And who knows, I mean, Duet 3 might actually have different not instructions, but format of this file. So we'll find out really fast.
Well, if you look in the live stream chat, you can kind of see what I have. At 5:17, I posted my config override, and you can see that it has 3 heater models, and none of them have any variables attached to them. So then, after running the M500, so I did the M307HO, and it grabbed all the constants for the heater. It doesn't seem to be writing them to the override file.
HO, not H0.HO, right?
Yeah, H0. Okay, yeah, see, you got a bunch of, what are all those G ones?
I don't remember.
And how do you have so many heater channels?
I think these were auto-generated. Most of them are 0. Or it seems to be like default. 340, 340, 340, okay. 140, 140, 140. Yeah, I think H3 through H7 are all default auto-generated.
Okay, so I have none of the Gs, and I only have 3 M307s. But it's, as you can see in my file, it wrote it, but no variables are attached, not even default variables.
Oh yeah, you're right. Interesting.
So I'm very puzzled with that at the moment.
That's weird. Okay. This could just be a duet thing. Duet 3 thing, like you mentioned.
So, talking about Duet 3 things, it seems that in the Duet 3, people are writing things differently in the configuration file, and I don't know how they're getting the information for it. It's kind of irritating.
I completely, okay, I agree. Basically, the way that so my take on it is that the documentation is there. However, it is minimal. So if you want to, there's no like canonical shortcut, here's what it looks like for most people example. Does that make sense?
Okay, but here's the example. Like, let me show you something. 1 second. I'm going to pull a line out of your file, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like in my file. And I would have attributed it just to the quirkiness of Denal, except I can find, like when I go into the forums and I'm looking at Duet 3 stuff, that's just the way people seem to be writing some of their stuff. So I'm very puzzled. But give me 1 second, and I'll pull the example that I'm talking about.
For sure. I'm gonna cough.
Thanks for the warning.
Dry cough.
A dry cough.
Oh, I'll be fine. I'm still coughing though. I'm still copying and not interacting with people physically. Only virtually.
All right, so let me pull this, for example. So here's a line out of your file, and here is the line out of my file that was based on denull. So you can see I'm using a different M command. I'm using this thermos, like.
Oh, I see. So like the fact that it's 308 instead of 305 and the fact that it's labeled differently, like the inputs are labeled differently?
Yeah, it's kind of, it's right. I mean, so like I was searching for the PT1000 stuff yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So like here's the 308 temp one, you know, it says thermistor, where it actually seems to be using the string somehow.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so I did dig into this, and basically in RepRap 3, okay, so this is where, and this is the thing that drives me nuts, but in order to like figure out, to make sense of this, we have to not be following the project, but the reason it looks like this is because of the change to RepRap 3, or release basically version 3, which they call RepRap 3.
So
the Duet 2 runs, okay, so the stock, if you buy a Duet 2 today, I think it still runs RepRap version 2.02. However, at some point they'll probably start shipping them with RepRap 3 installed as well. Basically, what happened in between RepRap 2 and 3 is like a bunch of changes happened, and one of them was the naming conventions of all their inputs and outputs. The reason they did that is because RepRap 3 has, the Duet 2 has pins, has ports, has physical connector ports that are application specific. So there's literally a temperature 0 port that you plug into if you're going to use a thermistor. And there's literally like a limit switch that is dedicated to the x-axis. On RepRap 3, or on the Duet 3 though, and I think this is why they changed it, they have a bunch of general purpose ports.
Right, you can switch it.
Exactly. So I think what they needed to do is sit down and think about the naming convention that would work, but would also be backwards compatible with Duet 2. So what they did is they came up with this naming convention, which is basically like 0.temp0 is referring to a GPIO pin.
So I get that, I guess, but I don't know how people know how to do this. Like, I don't know where the information is.
It's there. It's just really hard to find. Hold up. Duet 3 firmware configuration mutations? Where is it? Duet 3? No. I know. I totally agree. That's 3 over here. Holy shit, a lot of stuff. Excuse me, I'm trying not to swear as much.
It's fine.
There we go. Okay, so it's in the section called pin names. Oh, what?
That's like, none of this is monetized, and even if it was, people swear all the time in monetized videos. So.
Yeah, well, what drove me nuts about reading the section is that it did not have a very good examples. The other thing it did not explain very well is that the names are actually fixed. You can't change them. Right. You want this. Okay, you want this one. Hang on. You have to scroll down, but there's also a direct link to it. Paste it. Hit names for duet 3. It's really. Are you familiar with Linux CNC?
Am I familiar with what?
Linux CNC.
Not really.
Okay, it's back in the day. It was kind of like the project started in like the late 90s, I think, and became open source in like the early 2000s. It was this real-time distribution of Linux.
M500 is not yet supported in combination with SBC/Raspberry Pi.
Oh, interesting.
So.
Okay, so what do?
So I think what I generally can do is delete the configuration override file and just manually put the parameters into the file that it generated, which is what I did, into the configuration file. I just manually typed it in after doing an M307 or whatever it was to pull the parameters out.
Here's the question though: did it tell you that it wasn't supported yet, or did it just like fail silently?
It just said M500, and it was this nice green box with absolutely no information about what happened.
Darn. Then it failed silently.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just curious about that. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is one of those things where...
At least I know I'm not crazy.
Oh, yeah, right? It was one of those things that it would be nice to have somebody already do it for you. And I had some of this done already, but I can't go to lab right now.
It's all right. I'm not it's not your fault, but you know, heck, I'm using your recommended configuration is not the hardware I'm using, so I can't really fault you for that.
That's fair. That's fair. Let's see.
Huh.
What's that?
Oh, I'm just kind of looking, and I just realized Denal had put in what looks like the exact same thing that I ended up putting in.
Oh, hey, that's always reassuring.
Huh.
Since I printed anything other than functional print, it's coming out quite nice. Oh, just a heads up, I got mesh bed leveling working with instructions. That's in the wiki now.
Awesome.
Oh, one other thing, which is I need to push a change to the bed ball locations. Basically, you'll have to change two things. I haven't done it yet, because it still technically works fine. But you'll have to change the bed ball locations, and I believe that's it actually. Oh, and the XY limits. Yeah, so it's like 2 lines in the config have to change, but that's about it.
Do you have those 2 lines?
I do, if you want them right now.
Might
do
as
you
well.
have it picking up tools yet?
I was working on that earlier.
Okay, so in that case, what I would recommend is do it before. Let's do it now, in fact. I just downloaded those files and let me pull them up on my computer. I'm just going to post them. Let me dig them up. Where did you go? Extract.
Okay, I'm on the kinematic balls line. So how does this work exactly? I was kind of wondering about it because I guess you have to know exactly where the kinematic balls are supposed to be, but also you're not going to be probing right on top of the ball. So do you also know where you're probing?
Yes. That's defined in bed.g.
Ah.
Yes, okay, let me send you. Oh, wait. So how about I do this? Hit stash. Check out.
Yeah, earlier today I went to start printing something on my other printer, and complete failure.
Oh no.
Yeah, I've torn apart the entire hot end, and I figured in the time where I'm waiting around for the Jubilee to do something or print or run some sort of tune or something like that, I would work on it.
That's fair. Okay, here we go. Kinematic bed ball locations. Let me. I'm about to post this. I will get it to you first, though. Copy. I also played with. I made the jerk less. I made all the settings less aggressive than they are currently. Just that.
Where does that second line go?
M208. It's the software limits and min-max switch triggering positions.
Ah, what did I just do? I hate how when you hit the return key on the Duet firmware stuff, it will make the entire screen shift down.
Oh yeah, it took me a while to figure out that that's what it was doing because I was doing. I think usually whenever I'm editing things late at night, I'm like, I'll press the enter and be like, oh my god, what just happened?
Yeah, me too.
Did I like accidentally push something? Yeah, I get same problem. Like, what did I push? Because I didn't feel like I made a mistake.
All right, M208, where are you? How about a find? There you are.
Okay, that's done. Okay.
Was there anything else in the firmware I got to worry about?
Bed.g changed. I will give me a moment and I will just post them all up.
Oh, the other thing that was kind of weird is that the auto tuning went off for the bed, but I cannot get it to work for the tools. It just sits there and does nothing.
Auto tuning. Oh, you mean the heater?
Yeah.
Heater tuning?
Yep.
Oh, that's strange. But I wonder if your mapping from your heater to your tool is correct.
Oh, I can turn the heater on and it heats up. Like.
Okay, that sounds pretty correct to me.
Yeah. Yeah, everything looks fine on the web page, so.
How is everybody doing?
Not
not
too
too
bad. How are
bad.
you?
Oh, so M500 is not supported. That's interesting to know.
Yeah, remember what I was talking about earlier today?
Yeah.
So you just have to take and punch those, basically exactly what I did. You got to punch them in to your main configuration. So it's
Alrighty then.
not that big of a deal. It's just an extra step.
So I got a question for, see if anybody has any ideas. Does anybody know if ozone can be used as a sanitation methodology for printed devices or for peeling?
Ooh, I wish I could tell you that, but I don't know. Hey, wait. No, wait. I was told anecdotally. So here's more anecdotal evidence to feed to your anecdotal question. A question from other anecdotal evidence, which is you can probably throw them in a food dehydrator at like 70 C for like a few hours.
Okay. Well, I happen to have an industrial strength ozone generator.
Okay.
That's used. That's the typical thing that you would find that they would put in a hotel room after a really bad weekend.
Oh my.
You run it for, in a hotel room, you run it for 15 minutes and let it sit for 2 hours. And it basically kills anything the ozone touches.
Yeah.
You are not committed to jump on the ozone.
Seems like a really random thing to own.
Ozone is used in restaurants and hospitals for things that typically can't be autoclaved. So I was wondering if this might be a thing. So I was just wondering if anybody has an idea.
I don't know the first thing about it, to be honest. Sorry.
I couldn't tell you. It sounds like a good start, but again, it's one of those things that I also don't know without looking up. and it's good to be sure rather than feel good about it.
Yeah. So it was just one of those things. Figured I'd ask.
Okay, frame, upgrade, electronics. Whoa, what happened? Oh, something else is.
So how is everybody doing?
I'm all right.
Chevy. I had a day with the printer, which was nice. Understood mesh bed leveling to the point where I could write it down, run it, write it down, and then we're going to post all these files so that people don't have to think about it. They can just run it and have a good day.
All right, that's a thing. Meow. Meow, meow, meow.
Somewhere in here.
So I was talking with Steve was on earlier.
Impressive.
And sorry, successfully mowed the backyard.
That doesn't seem like it has anything to do with Steve. I'll be honest.
No, but it has everything to do with the fact that I'm not able to complete a thought.
Sounds like there's a cat between you and your thought.
No, it's more of I took an antihistamine when I got back inside.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm terribly allergic to grass clippings.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, that's the thing. No, don't jump on the counter. You know better than that. You have food. Come here. Don't look at me like that.
Oh.
Just wait till you have that.
All right. What do I need before I start doing stuff, Josh? Are you still working on it?
I'm almost done. I'm grabbing one more thing.
Okay, I'll go get some water.
You have the stream running?
I do.
You do? Did I miss it? Yes, I did. There have been many things posted since then, which is why I did not see them.
Gotcha. I'm gonna grab some water really quick.
So, no, I was, when I bought the house, I got a John Deere lawn tractor with it.
Hey.
But I have never been an outdoor yard guy. I like gardening, but I don't just like cutting grass. And I realized that I was paying somebody way too much money to do that. And I already have a lawn, a 42-inch wide cut lawn tractor thing that I already own, so I may as well use it.
You're very eloquent today.
Well, that's what antihistamines do to me.
I'm just
kidding. I don't take them very often. So I did get it running. Had to drain the old gas and prime the fuel pump, which is a very interesting fuel pump. It's a vacuum actuated fuel pump. And then I got it started and was able to mow the backyard before I realized that I only bought like 3/4 of a gallon of gas. And that's not enough.
Ah.
So I'll take the other car over in the morning and fill up the gas tank and fill its tank. So it'll be done. And then I'll do the front yard tomorrow.
Okay, it's pushed.
Pushed? Oh no!
Our settings are there.
I take it you're feeling better, Josh.
I'm about 90%, I would say. Still not going to make stuff for people because the odds of me, I don't have a clever way of disinfecting things, and even if I did, I would probably infect the outside of the bag. So I've decided not to make stuff for people in the meantime.
Yeah, no. Quite all right. If you're running a fever or anything like that, you need to just like stay there and have people drop stuff off outside the door.
Oh, I have plenty of food, so I'll live. There'll be no starving. It will be somewhat boring.
We should have everybody put it out in the randoms like send Josh a pizza.
I think you can only buy people a coffee.
Oh no, literally call the local Domino's or something and have them deliver a pizza.
Oh no. Oh, I will be totally fine.
You don't eat pizza?
Well, I'm not a huge pizza person.
Ah, all right. I see.
Okay. Okay, so the files are posted. What you want to do is you want to get the new tool files and the new config. The new config basically only has the changes that I mentioned earlier, which are those two regarding the bed. And then the tool, okay, so here's where it gets a little bit weird. The tool changer has this, on the lock, the tool changer lock file, there is a new, I call it like the coupler kiss. Basically, as the tool changer locks, it also pushes the tool slightly deeper into the post, and that helps you contact the 3 vols before it actually twists it. That feature is a similar feature is copied into the macro files of the tool changer pickup and park files as well. So I would start with the t-pre, t-post, and t-free files that are now currently posted.
Okay.
You're gonna land on your head. You try to jump. The box is going to slip out from under you. You want to not take that. You will break. Because you are old and frail. I know, you don't believe it, but you are. Oh, watch. I have a grumpy cat.
No.
He doesn't look grumpy. He just is.
Oh.
Oh, okay, I'll put you down then. There you go. He has a bed under, he has a heated bed underneath my desk where he spends most of the day.
All right, so I changed bed.g, and then you said
HomeZ, I think also now has a couple changes. So bed.g changes the kinematic pickup locations, or the kinematic the poke locations, which is where it's poking the bed. HomeZ has an additional call, which is currently commented out, which basically says, hey, apply mesh bed, disable mesh bed leveling, and then re-enable it while I'm doing the 3-point leveling. If you end up doing a mesh bed leveling compensation routine, you'll want to comment those back in, such that when you run 3-point bed compensation, it doesn't screw it up.
Okay.
And then the last change was how tools are picked up. There's a slight, this is in 2 places. It's in the tool lock macro, and it's also in the tpost macro. So what happens is that when it approaches a tool, it pushes on it a little bit, and when it twists the lock, it continues to push on it a little bit more, just to make sure all the balls are touching before it actually finishes the locking procedure.
Okay.
And so the way that works is that when it releases the tool, it actually parks it 1 millimeter behind where it picks it up. So it picks it up a millimeter forward and it parks it a millimeter behind. And because that's kind of weird, what I would suggest is I would make the tools match the software instead of changing the parking locations of the software if you can help it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just for starters.
Do you have drawings or sketches in the?
I'm starting to. I just made a document today on mesh bed leveling, which is now up in the wiki. And I'm going back and looking at the tool offsets, and I'm starting to add documents there or pictures there and flesh that documentation out. And then the last thing I haven't done is the tool offsets.
Okay. So I caught a little bit of the conversation about the mesh bed leveling and then the tool offsets. Because you said everything is in relation to, or at least the way the duet works, right? Is this a duet rep thing, or is this a? It's really a duet. I guess this is the duet rep thing. As to how everything relates to tools at T0, you don't have multiple offsets, or the offsets aren't attached to an absolute.
Great question. So this was something that we were talking about earlier. Oh, I'm echoing. It's gone. Okay. So the question from a couple days ago that I think we're talking about on voice chat, which I also fielded with people out on Discord chat later today, but I have a pretty good idea what to do now, which is figuring out how to dial in tool offsets relative to the mesh bed probing routines semblance of where the tool is. Okay, so let me explain that a little bit better. When you do the mesh bed compensation, you poke at the bed with the Z-probe. The Z-probe has an offset to the tool that you can set.
Yep, that's not your Z height offset. That's your Z-probe offset. Yeah, your XY.
From the tool. In a single extruder setup, you're golden. That's fine. You just tile in the XY offset, you measure it, you get it from the CAD model, you're good to go.
Right.
In our setup, though, the problem is that the tool you might have could be whatever. It could be a default extruder like the one in the CAD in the Jubilee project, or it could also be like a Hemera tool. It could be whatever you came up with.
Right. Yeah. Each tool has its own offset.
Right. So the idea, the reason why this is tricky is that your mesh bed leveling is done with the assumption that the tool is fixed to the machine, and that's not true anymore.
Brian, are you listening to headphones?
No, I'm on speaker. Hold on.
Oh, okay. No wonder. I'm like, it's hard to think.
There's an echo. I'm sorry about that. Let me see what I can do.
Okay.
Let me grab my iPad and cut out and come back in.
Sure.
Yeah, I know how that is. I've experienced the echo, and it's like your words are delayed back to you, and it just frazzles your brain.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to talk, and I'm like, why is this so hard? Like, what's going on? Oh, it's because I'm listening to myself say what I just said.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, the iPad got much better noise canceling.
Oh, I see.
Then on a computer system. So there you go.
Cool. Yeah. So anyways, the way to do it is there were a couple of ways of doing it, which is you have to pick up the offset from whatever your tool 0 is going to be, and then you just have to do that anyways, and then everything else is defined relative to tool 0. The other way to do it, which I kind of like better, which people on chat seem to kind of agree with as well, is you create this semblance of a virtual tool when you do mesh bed leveling, which is you have a virtual extruder that's directly on top of your Z probe, so it has no offset.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking when you started talking about tool 0. Tool 0 is a virtual tool that is the reference plane, or the reference reference frame for tool 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Right. So here's where it gets weird, because even though that's the case, you do your mesh bed leveling, life is good. Then you pick up tool, then you pick up the real tool 0, and then you have to dial in your G10 offsets. And in this case, the G10 offset isn't for tool 0 isn't 0, 0 anymore. It's the distance from tool 0 to the Z probe. Thankfully, though, that can be an approximation. It can be like, that is something you could get from the CAD model. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then from that point, tool 0 is the datum, and then tool 1 is referenced against tool 0, tool 2 is referenced against tool 0, etc.
So could we just work with me, just for giggles?
Sure.
Tool 0 doesn't actually exist. It's a virtual tool that is, T0 is the Z probe. And then we pick up tool 1 through 4. And T0 is the reference plane, or the reference frame for the machine.
So we're already doing that, except we just don't call it tool 0. It just doesn't have a name. So we can call it tool -1 if you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, if we can do that, that's fine. So there's a physical reference frame for the carriage, and then everything references to that. So you have your different tool offsets, which is very common in CNC, right?
Right. So in this case,
your probe reference.
Exactly. Yeah. So in this case, the reference is a virtual tool that does not exist, which is a tool that sits directly on the. So when the carriage, when the tools are off and the carriage is by itself, the virtual tool offsets apply, which is a virtual extruder where the nozzle tip is on top of the limit switch.
Okay, and the same thing could be done if you're using a BL Touch.
Correct. It gets a little bit weirder with the BL Touch because at least the normal touch point for the Z probe is at least in the middle as far as the axis is concerned. It's in the middle of the carriage, kind of. With the BL Touch, it's kind of more obviously offset.
Yeah.
So then you kind of have to play with the goal with whatever extruder, whatever Z probe you happen to install, is that you want 0, 0 to be in the bottom left corner of the bed, offset by like 5 millimeters because it's 300 by 300, sorry, 2.5 millimeters. So that's the goal with the virtual tool, is it can be wherever on the carriage, but you want to set it up so that it's approximately, the tip of it is at one of the corners of the bed plate, such that it's slightly off from the edge by 2.5 millimeters.
Is there enough? I haven't looked at it. Is there enough clearance on either side?
Yes, it's 305 by 305, and the usable bed space is 300 by 300.
No. I mean, is there enough travel on the carriage that you have enough? You have a little bit of a wiggle room on either side.
Yes, there is.
So you could. So when the carriage is at 0, 0, or at the limit switches, right, at the end stops, and Eric and I were talking about this last night about making those maxes instead of mins, which puts 0, 0 as you're facing the machine in the front left side. But if you're, why can I not see your stream again? There we go. All right. So, you know, if you made your limit, the switches, the limit switches, max switches, which just, you know, essentially invert or reverse the bend. We'll change the tool lock in the very back center. 0, 0, space, left side, front left corner.
You're saying if you don't have enough, if you can't actually reach it from the corner that you're trying to reach it from?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
that would work.
And then your tools all live in a negative space.
Yeah, you could do that too.
And then the tools all live in all the tool positions are all living in a negative space.
Yeah, this the process that I described works if your Z tool is, I mean, it can be offset from the center of the carriage by maybe 20 millimeters. It can be fully offset in one direction because you can always move the carriage over in one direction from the corner. But if you're offset by too much, you have to choose a different origin and then just change the reference frame, which is what you described.
Yep.
And that's okay. It's just, yeah. The nice thing about having it, the nice thing about having everyone have the same Z probe is that if I push changes, nobody has to change anything on their tool pre and post and free files. The tool change macros all stay the same.
Okay.
And so that's the benefit of using the same Z probe. That said, those won't change very often at this point.
Just throwing some things out there that have come up in conversations when you weren't around.
Sure.
So there was some definite confusion when people were shocked, and it's like, where's 0, 0? Well, it's back here in the back. It's like, why is 0 in the back?
I'll make a diagram. Sorry, everybody.
Well,
it's weird, I know.
You knew what you meant. You knew what you meant when you were writing it.
Well, the point was to make it easier for people to change the tool, the parking post without having to work with negatives.
Are negatives hard? Probably. I guess they're as hard as fractions, I suppose. So, are we going to be putting down plastic tonight?
I don't know.
Is that filament hanging out there?
No. I did tighten the nozzle, hot tighten the nozzle earlier though, so.
Oh, good.
I was trying to pick up a tool earlier and I was not succeeding at it. So right now I'm setting it up the way Josh is suggesting to at the moment. Making me move stuff around.
How are the students handling? Are classes recommenced?
Oh, we're on spring break. Sorry about me.
Okay.
Today's the last day, so
okay.
I will resume a normal life in the future. By which I mean in like 12 hours.
Yeah,
Saturday, 8 o'clock.
My niece, her classes started last week, and she is not adjusting well.
Yeah, I'm sure no one's having a good time, and that includes the teachers. It's going to be really hard to make. Yeah, I think it's going to be rough.
And there's going to be a lot of, oh, I was on mute, or oh, I wasn't on mute. I think I wasn't on mute is probably worse.
God, this kid's an idiot. Oh, shoot. Still remember one of my classes, the teachers, we've got like three or like, I don't know, something like 3 boards. I forget how many this class had. and the teacher's been lecturing for pretty much like 75% of the class period, right? So the board's pretty full at this point. And we had this one kid at he raises his hand and deadpan serious, and he really was serious, not a joke. He's like, "Can you explain explain that again?" And the teacher's like, "What?" Everything from there to there on the board. And the teacher looked at him and then turned around and continued lecturing. Didn't even just like not even going to acknowledge that. You know, it was.
Oh.
Yeah, I ended up dropping my Calc 3 class, the last one I took, because I could not understand the instructor. He was speaking English, technically. And it was an 8 o'clock class at a campus that I had to drive an hour and a half to get to, because they didn't offer it in the local campus. And I'm sitting here staring at him going, I have no idea what you're saying. And it's all lecture. I mean, it's Calc 3. He's talking and writing formulas on the board. And I couldn't understand a word he was saying.
Oh, it might have just been because it was early.
No, I was only 17 at the time. So early wasn't a big deal. It was, he was from India, and his accent was so bad, a third of the class dropped in the first 4 days because we couldn't understand it. And we're trying to do, it's Calc 3, so we're doing matrices and things like that, right? And transforms. And I'm just like, really?
Gentlemen?
You use that term so loosely.
No, we might not all be gentlemen. Well, in the future.
Well,
In the future?
I mean, like, we might get more people who show up.
well, I can see who's in the live stream.
Or who's in the chat?
Yeah. So I'm currently helping my parents with their email account.
Congratulations, welcome to IT. You are now the IT support for your entire family.
I am deleting 176,000 unread messages.
Oh, that's pretty easy. Select all, delete, and then
Yeah,
wait for the server to choke on it.
Have you ever tried that in Gmail?
Gmail, at least in the business side Gmail, you can do a bulk select.
Yeah, it takes a while.
It takes a while in iCloud too. Mostly I just archive everything at the end of the year, anything that I want to keep.
So archiving doesn't help against your storage limits?
It is when you do an offline archive.
Oh, okay. My mom managed to fill her 15 gigs of space.
Oh, that's not uncommon. I mean, I did it when I was working at the game store. I had about 150 emails a day, kind of thing, and a lot of them had attachments because they're from manufacturers and vendors.
I have almost full of my email, but that's also because Google Drive is linked to it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I use OneDrive mostly for files, mainly because way in the past they gave me just under a couple terabytes for life.
That's handy.
So yeah, it's kind of nice.
I keep getting warnings from my IT department that your mailbox is almost full. You need to delete things. At which point I respond saying, I'm not permitted to delete things. Sarbanes-Oxley, thank you very much. At which point they say, never mind, we've just increased your quota. You know what I'm talking about. S&O, and they just stop talking. I'm never allowed to delete anything. I'm not even allowed to archive it. It's weird.
Technically, Sarbanes-Oxley doesn't say that you can't delete stuff. It says that your company, if you're publicly traded, has to publish the policy and has to enforce it. So if you say we never delete email, we never delete email. You say if we delete email every 90 days, then email best be deleted every 90 days.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't work.
Uh-oh, what's going on?
They're adjusting all of the email policies now that we're Dell.
I don't think my tools goes in quite as far as your tool.
That might require some tweaking. So what I suggest is picking up the tool, locking it in manually, and then opening up the tool change macro, which is T3, and look and see where it parks it in 2 space, XY space, and then slowly move it over in that direction with the parking post loose, and then guide it into the parking post.
Well, the problem is that my tool does not, it's not as deep, like in Y. There's not a whole lot I can do about that.
Oh, then you can just increase.
Remember, this one
is the tool fully pushed into the back?
I can't. So I'm gonna have to. I don't know. I can't with the way it's printed at the moment.
Oh, I meant, is it possible to get a top-down view of your machine? Almost like what you have on the left, except slightly more over to the tool side?
No, the wings are not touching the back plate. It actually hits the fan mount. So I'll snap a picture for you. 1 second.
Got it. Yeah, that fan sticks out longer than the wings do, doesn't it? We can make longer wings for it if we need to.
Yeah, but that's not solving the problem that I have.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the problem is yet, but I will find out soon.
There you go. I'm out a few millimeters off of that rail, so.
Yeah, no, that's actually good. Okay, so you're saying that like you hit the Y limit moving forward, trying to pick up the tool?
Yeah, something like that.
Well, no, the tool hits. And the tool is impacting the rail?
I just drove the tool pickup into skipping steps.
Yeah.
Because I can't go as far in Y as you can. So I've got to do something about that. And I don't...
I see, because you have a Hemera. Okay, you're deeper. Yeah, so what I would do is just change the Y location back to be back a little bit. Okay, so yeah, what I would do is load the tool into the machine by just running the macro, push it, and then glide it into the parking post manually into a place that looks fine. And then we'll call that, like, remember that dimension, and then put that into the config files.
Yeah, I'm going to do something here.
Yeah, just remember you have to change the config file in 3 places.
Well, I have to change it in a whole lot of places because you got a whole bunch of them.
Well, right, because if you have entirely Chimeras, then maybe.
No, I mean there's a whole bunch of Y's and Y values in here that have to be updated.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, if we only had a program.
Wait a minute. You have a
Look at
G1Y3296.
Wait, that's got to be a typo. Where's that?
It's right after you run the tool pickup or lock.
That's almost certainly a typo. No. This is what I get for copying things over by physically typing them twice. Let me look really quickly. Software config.
Yep, that's probably why.
That's probably what's doing it. My bad. Where is that? Is that tpost 0?
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah, I see it. Okay. Let me fix that right now. Damn it.
What is it supposed to be? 29?
296, not 3296.
Oh, 296.
Yeah, my bad.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh.
That's
Yep.
order of magnitude?
Oh, it's because I was doing two things at once.
That's all right.
It's all right. It was discovered early, before any damage was done. Well, before much damage was done.
I'm surprised it gave up after such a short.
Oh, it's because it has a hard stop at 345 or something like that.
Mm.
So, not a hard stop, but like a software limit.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think maybe not right this minute, but what I think would be cool is maybe to set this up in Google Sheets to generate, like you can give it an XY, and it'll automatically generate all the offsets for you.
Oh, Google Sheets, I did not think about that. I was thinking about doing it in Python, then I was like, well, great, everyone has to install Python. And I was like, oh, I'll do it in JavaScript. And I was like, great, I don't want to learn JavaScript. That Google Sheets, that's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Your,
Okay.
put in you type it in and it generates your
Pre, post, and free.
With the mail merge kind of thing, and it generates your .g. Not even necessarily a mail merge. Does the config files, does it handle tabs?
It does.
Does it handle tabs well? I.e., does it ignore them from a?
I think it treats them like spaces, but I couldn't tell you. Honestly, it's a little bit risky because if you put tabs in between spaces, then it might think if it ignores them, then it's the same word, and if it treats them like spaces, then it works. But it's kind of weird.
So, yeah, well, I mean, it's easy enough to do some concatenations with the adding in a space and things like that. That's easy. Concatenate, add a space, and then throw in the value from the other cell.
Oh, yeah.
To create your .g file.
Mm-hmm.
Cut and paste this into a file and name it this. Any reason not to keep? Now, I still haven't figured it. I haven't got as far as the song. So, are all of your tools in individual configuration files, or does each tool, are all the tools in a single file?
This is the part that's a drawback from Duet, which is each tool gets 3 macro files.
Each tool gets 3 macro files.
What's the third?
It's free, pre, and post.
Oh, okay.
Oh, pre isn't being used though, right?
Yeah, for the most part. Most of them do nothing except for post because of a drawback with the firmware. This was really hard to figure out. The question, it was a question of at what point in time do offsets of the tool get applied, and it ended up being not in a way that seemed natural. So I had to, so the workaround was to put everything in tpost.
Okay.
What is free?
That is the macro that is invoked when you are trying to get rid of the current tool. So
You mean drop it off?
Yes, that's what happens when you're trying to drop off whatever tool you're currently holding. Okay, I fixed it. But just remember, you still can't go as deep. But I think you already know that already.
Yeah, I've changed it independently of
Man, I like the red.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
That primary red is damn nice looking. Mine's gonna look like a weird pumpkin.
Oh, weird pumpkin.
It's all orange.
Before I do anything, there was something I wanted to fix real quick.
Oh, I am a confused individual.
What?
Oh, I'm just wrestling with CAD, trying to make something movable so I can make a document that shows people where 0, 0 is. And it's being more harder than I thought. Oh, now it shows it. Okay, that's great.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I don't pick up anything whenever I try to pick up a tool. I'm not sure
so
what's wrong.
Is it not reaching far enough? Is it not twisting the lock? Is it
Doesn't
not
seem like it goes in far enough.
Mm-hmm. What I would do, let's see. Yeah, no, okay. Okay, so I would just, well, I mentioned this earlier, like physically just invoke the tool change, the lock macro with the tool being just physically putting the tool into the carriage by hand, and then
Well,
drive it up
I get
with the program.
the twist lock into the hole. That's not a problem. I am not getting. It's like the. I don't know. It's like there's some sort of small angle on the tool post or something like that, and I
There,
don't know.
it's not hitting the alignment holes, or it's not hitting the wings properly.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, I'd loosen it up just a smidge, and then as the tool comes up, align the tool post so that the tool drives home, and then tighten it down.
Well,
Does that make sense?
um, what seems to be happening is that it's it's the whole assembly. Like, here's an exaggeration if you can see it on the camera. It's sitting like this, at an angle instead of straight up. You know what I mean? It's not a big angle. It's a very small angle, but there's an angle there nonetheless.
So it's lean after when it's locked in, it's leaning forward. The top is not parallel. The face of the tool carrier of the tool plate is not parallel to the face of the carriage.
Right.
That's weird. Is the whole carriage rolling, or I mean, are they parallel and the whole carriage is rolling forward?
When I put it on the pins and everything's jogging in, I can make contact with the bottom balls and not the top balls. Something is in the way.
Oh, weird. If you look at it, if you can inspect the parking post, does it look like you press fit the dowel pins in at an angle? That's also possible.
Press fit the dowel pins in at an angle? How would I do
Yeah.
that?
They can wobble. So I would just like optically check with your eyes, do the parking post dowel pins look like they're pointing straight forward instead of, or do they look at like they're kind of at an angle?
Are they parallel and horizontal?
As far as I can tell, they're nice and straight.
Okay. So when it's hanging on the parking post, is it sagging?
Right, but it's sagging in the opposite direction, I would imagine, if it is sagging.
Or is it sagging on the carriage when it's locked up?
Part of it might be the fact that this fan mount is hitting the extruded aluminum so it can pivot.
Right. Well, keep in mind you don't have to actually push it all the way down the pins. Mine actually stick out a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't have to make contact with the extrusion.
Mm-hmm.
And if we need to, you can do one of two things. We can print a new ring, or we can make a spacer that snaps onto the dowel post, the parking post, that provide that spacer or that space, so that the wings hit before the fan mount hits the extrusion.
I don't really recommend pushing into a hard stop. Mainly just because the most successful way I've seen being able to pick up tools with the 3D printed plates is by physically pushing on them a little bit when you pick them up.
Yeah.
And if there's no Y travel for that, then you can't do that.
Okay, so actually leave some more space. So pull it back another couple of millimeters. Subtract a couple of millimeters from Y.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my bad. That's where the problem is. Yes. Yes.
You're talking.
Okay. I'm talking to myself. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think it grabbed anything. It's like the twist lock isn't far enough out.
That's also possible.
Is it pushing up against the balls?
Like I said before, it kind of makes contact with the bottom balls, but not the top.
Yeah, if there's a way you can do it by hand.
I have done it by hand before.
Okay, so we know that it can pick it up.
Can you shim the back edge of tool parking post so that the faces are parallel?
That's not super easy to do to change the angle.
Okay.
It's quite strange to watch this slightly offset in time.
Yes.
Oh, did you do it already? Is it okay?
What, dude? But
Wait, so question. What's wrong with loosening up the screws on the parking post and starting with it on the carriage and then releasing it? That way you kind of know that it was left in the right position.
Well, hold on. Don't like the brass.
A more ergonomic
What's that?
mouse pad. A more ergonomic mouse pad that adjusts.
Oh, right.
So there, it's locked.
Okay, great. So in this configuration, I would physically move it into the carriage slowly and watch to see if pins move up and down. Actually, wait, before I would do that, I would take your screwdriver for the M3 socket, your hex key, and loosen the top M3. Actually, no, I would tighten the top M3 because that's the height adjustment. And then I would loosen the two back M3 screws. That way you can physically wiggle it up and down. And then I would push it in and then screw everything down again.
Oops, shoot, what I do?
Oh. It's all back in time.
Did it just lock? What's it? Oh.
I'm just gonna rehome everything real quick. Make sure I haven't skipped a step at some point. So I tried doing it this way before, and it didn't turn out really well. Wow. See, this doesn't look, this looks terrible.
What looks terrible?
The alignment to the dock. So, like, I had, I don't know. Let's just set everything back and start all over again.
So Josh,
Hmm.
is this the first time we've seen angular issues on a tool post? Rotational problems?
So far, yes. If that's what the problem is, then yes.
Well, that's going to take a long time to print. Okay, never mind. What am I doing wrong? Four times 8 is
32.
4 times 8.5, or 4.5 times 8. 36?
4 times 8 is 36.
Yes.
Or no, sorry, that's
34.
32. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 1 day, 11 hours, 6 minutes. All right. A long print. And what happens if I do that?
How come you set this parking post to be so far from the, like you got pretty good gap right here. Just curious.
Who are you asking?
Josh.
Supposed to be so far from the tool. Or
From the corner, from the corner block. Like you have, I don't know,
you could
15
make that,
millimeters
yeah,
there.
you could make that closer. I think the previous version of that block was longer, and I think I made it shorter.
Ah.
One day, 5 hours. All right. Knocked 6 hours off the print. Still almost 30 hours. And it's using only 300 grams of material. So that's good.
What are you
So
printing?
Steve, these are the NIST.
Yeah.
These are the NIST. I'm finishing up my second one now. They printed out pretty nicely. I definitely have some ringing on the big printer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I got to do something with the. I got to do something with it. The Y stepper is. Yeah.
So I will say I like the NIST design a little bit more than the one that I have from IC3D. But
Yeah.
I will say that the IC3D is printing in under 3 hours, roughly.
Well, the Swedish one prints in an hour and 20 minutes. And, if you're printing at 0.8 with a volcano or 1.0 with a volcano, you can print them in about 35, 40 minutes
Yeah.
with a, 0.6 layer height. And that's what's happened. Did you see 3D Noob?
Sorry, what?
What's his name from Malta?
Oh, yeah.
Joe.
Joe, did you see his post or his video this afternoon?
No.
Okay, take a look. It's not very long, but he has stopped all of his current projects, and every machine that he owns is printing stacks of the Prusa design.
Oh, that's cool.
So, because they're trying to get them out to everybody. Malta's not very big.
Yeah.
But the other thing about it is that the bakers there definitely understand that they have a responsibility to act. Because they get free healthcare. oh, funny about that. And it's an industrialized nation with free healthcare or with universal healthcare. Amazing how hard that is to make. Only 32 or 33 nations have been able to do it. Sorry, I'm a little bitter about this.
It's fine. It is what it is.
Yes, but coming out of this, we're going to be in a position to maybe change that.
Odds are good.
What's that?
Odds are good.
Yeah, well, don't order anything or do order things from Instacart tomorrow.
Why is that?
Because Instacart is going on a national general strike.
Oh, interesting. For this,
the
for
Instacart, all the people doing the stuff for Instacart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the executives are working from home. Everybody else is in the field. No hazard pay, no sick leave, no sick pay.
Oh, yikes.
They're all being treated as independent contractors. And you know, if they do have a strike, I'd love to see people like ordering a shitload of stuff tomorrow that can't be fulfilled. Maybe I'm just being.
Wait, wouldn't that be the opposite of like? Wouldn't that have the opposite effect of not supporting them?
No, because they wouldn't be able to fulfill the orders. They'd have to refund.
Oh, I see. So you're saying if they are forced to refund them, they lose money.
Yes. That also tells the Instacart people that they are vital workers. They are essential workers. They are important, more so than the executives. Oh, an executive can work from home. That's nice. When your business relies on somebody to run around and do stuff. Yeah. Anyway. Well. I don't know if that's actually going to happen or not, but yeah, there's more and more we're starting to see more calls for the generals. I mean, it's a better alternative than it's better than the alternative. I mean,
that man has a lot of printers.
Yes, he does. There's more printers than outlets.
Oh, and the big news here is Mattel got FDA approval for their PPE sanitizing equipment.
Nice.
They can now sanitize 80,000 pieces of PPE at a time in a thing that ships on like a cargo container.
Oh, they're building it into a 20-foot container or a 40-foot container?
I believe it's I don't know. I don't know which one it is. But I know they had pictures of it basically being on like the back of a truck.
Okay.
They're shipping one to Seattle. They're shipping one to New York City. They shipped them on like Friday. And the question was is whether the FDA was going to allow them to be used.
Okay. Well, I mean, the CDC.
Hey, did you see that?
No, I missed it. Did that work?
Hey, look,
Do it again.
I did it. Tool. Yay! Now does it go back?
Oh, there we go. That's awesome.
Hey!
Now, okay, so when it's in a state, take your hand and give it a slight jiggle and see if it like clicks or not. It should not click, but that would be one thing to check.
It's weird when it didn't pull back all the way. It must have something screwed up there. I thought it was supposed to go back to 296. What's happening? Sitting at 305.
It does, and then it applies the offset.
Applies what offset?
the whatever offset you've given it, which actually might be 0 at this point. It would be in your config file. Oh wait, no. Oh wait, no, yeah.
Check the CAD model for the offset. I don't think the...
Well, right now it's telling me that I'm at 305. I thought it's like it's...
Yeah, so check the extruder 0 section in this config file to see if there's any previously existing offsets in config.g.
So the nice thing about the NIST one, or not the NIST, but I was able to get the covers from Office Depot today.
Oh, cool.
And it's a regular 3-hole punch.
But you said look to see if I have any offsets, but I'm still not sure what offset I'm supposed to look for.
Oh, my bad. Offsets are defined in the config file, config.g.
Okay.
And it's a G10 command, and if you scroll down to where it says
G10. All right, let me just search G10. Okay, gotcha. Tool definitions looks like
there we go. G10 P0. I can't actually read that, but it doesn't look like there's anything.
Oops. There you go. Is that better?
Hang on. There must be lag in the stream.
Oh wait, it's supposed to load offsets from T offsets.
Oh, interesting. That's a new way of doing it. Oh, hey, I can see it better now. Oh, okay. So it loads it from T offsets. That's new. Okay, so I guess we're looking there then.
T0. Looks like it has a very small Z offset and not much else.
Okay, that makes sense. Then
no, but so what I'm looking at though is it went back to 305, which I would have thought it was supposed to go back to 296. So what I find really bizarre about this is in T3, I told it to go back to 305 when it's retracting the pin, and that part seems to work. But I don't see.
Okay. This has to do with okay. This has to do with the saved position. It has to do with G1R2, which is in
restore
TP.
prior position.
Yes.
Why do I want to do that?
The reason, there it is, G1R2 with no additional offset. The reason it's there is because at this point, when you pull the tool out, hitting a G1R2 will readjust the bed and the XY such that you're at some prior position that you saved earlier, which is defined in another parking file. And the reason that's important is because if you have a really tall extruder, if you don't do that, then your next move will be an XYZ travel back to the bed from your slicer, as defined by your slicer. And if you don't give yourself enough Z travel to clear, for the extruder to clear the bed, it will crash.
Yep.
So putting a G1R2 there forces it to make an XYZ move that sets the Z at a point such that if you were just to make, such that your next move will be clear of the bed. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Yeah, this stuff was like weirdly difficult to put together. I'm hoping I can get to the point where basically people just dump the files on their thing and then it just works.
It'll be difficult unless people all decide to use the same setups, though.
That's true. Yeah. So, well, I would like to at least have it be a same default. If that makes any sense.
So all the Chimeras are going to have, I mean, the Chimeras are not going to have all the same offset.
So how come it doesn't go back to its original position when you do a tool drop-off?
I don't think I put a G1 R2 there. But I don't know for sure. I don't remember for sure.
You know the funniest thing is, though, I completely accidentally figured out how to pick up a tool. I meant to turn the heater on, and instead, it like all of a sudden the printer moved. I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So for some weird reason, yeah, I have this problem too. On the older firmware, if you click on the heater, if it's attached to a tool, it will go try to pick up the tool too.
Yeah, that's how I'm
think it's
getting it
okay.
to pick up the tool right now.
So if you click on tool 0, it gives you a drop-down menu where you can say pick up and park.
Say that again?
Instead of clicking on the heater. If you click on tool 0, the blue stuff on the left,
Yeah.
it will give you a drop-down menu.
No, that's picking as well.
It depends on what it thinks the state of the machine is. If you already have tool 0 loaded, it will only give you the ability to park it.
How do I actually turn it on so it starts heating up?
Oh, you have to set the temperature.
It
says active. Okay. Oh yeah, it should be on.
Oh, now it's going. Well, I had a 50 in there, which obviously wasn't going to do much, but
There it goes.
yeah,
Heating up.
yeah, now it is.
Yeah, it's so weird because so you have to turn it on, but the temperature has to be above 0. It's so weird because everyone's watching the stream at a slightly different moment in time, and it's really confusing. Okay, now I see it.
Which reference frame are you in?
Exactly.
And is this relativity? Are we in relative reference frames? Everything is relative. But we're still inside the light code, so there you go.
Is there a way to change the speed? Like, so the only way I figured out, I go to machine specific, excuse me, like tab, and then I can come in here and change the speed of the moves, and then I can go back to dashboard, and then I can move quickly. Right? Is there a simpler way to do that? Like, or is that the only way?
I think machine, there's a setting for rapids, which is in the machine config file. I think well, actually, I don't know if it's in the MELF config file, but I think, let me check mine where that is. Oh no, I think it just defaults to moving around at the rapid speed, which.
Oh, well and good until you don't want to go rapid.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just find it a little bit annoying to have to come in and change it in a completely different screen. It'd be nice if there was like a speed control on this screen, but obviously that's Duet's firmware stuff, not much I can do about that. So I guess it is what it is. I was just curious if you knew.
I don't know off the top of my head. This SolidWorks thing is frustrating.
What are you fighting? did you see the V3 of the Prusa design?
Yeah.
Stackable now.
Yep.
What now?
Prusa's new the face shield band that they designed. Somebody in the community had the brilliant idea of why don't we make it stackable, so that it prints
Yep.
like 4 or 5 at a time for overnight printing. And so they redesigned it. What's funny is they took most of the community hints, which was like get rid of the little octagon slots in the headband because it wasn't that important. You know, those kinds of things that it seems minor, but it speeds up print time because it means you're at maximum velocity for the majority of the move, right?
Yep.
And also, the experiences I had with it was that it had a tendency to have little blobs there,
Yep.
which meant you could have rough, sharp edges that
Which have
were
broke.
getting printed.
Yep. You have to break those before you can.
So I spent about 2 hours in the garage tonight cleaning up and getting the shop back in shape so that I can start doing stuff out there tomorrow.
Hey.
Set my arbor press up. That also meant that I dropped the shaft of the arbor press on my finger, but you know, hey.
Hey, if you're not bleeding for it, it's not, you know.
Well, and it was that good Harbor Freight Chinesium where it has lots of edges that haven't been deburred.
Hey, so how exactly am I supposed to go about setting the offset for the tool? Like, do I just change that file, I guess? But how does it update?
It's a single line of code. It's a G10 file, and I suppose T offsets now. Yes, so what you'd want to do is you don't really need to do the, okay, so you won't really need to worry about it until you have more than one tool.
Well, I need to worry about the Z offset, though.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so yeah, so that's basically, this is the paper trick. I hate, it's not my favorite way of doing it, but it is that's the way to do it, which is you pick up the tool, move it over to the center of the bed, and slowly lift it up. Just lift the Z up with a piece of paper in the middle.
Oh, I don't do paper. I have my own way of doing it that I like better.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm talking about like getting it to take, and then like, so I updated the T offsets, but how does that actually get up? Like, how do I get the printer to recognize that it's updated? Any idea?
You just change the T offset. You can even change it in the console if you want to just make sure that it works before you put it in the file.
So if I just go to the T offset, copy that line of code, drop it into.
Start it as 0.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do, actually.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, there it goes. It changed, so that's good.
And you won't. It will change it in the screen, but the machine won't move. But the next move you tell the machine to do, it will apply the offset.
There we go. Perfect. Now I can copy that to T offset. Boom. And boom. I don't know why people don't like to use tabs more often.
You mean suitable code?
Yeah, it's like all this stuff is like spaces, no tabs. I don't get it.
It's because tabs can be interpreted as a variable number of spaces on machines, and so when you open up someone's like code, and they've got tabs, it might show up as like 2 spaces in one machine or 4 spaces in another. And some programming languages are very strict about, okay, namely Python is strict about this many spaces counts as a new line of code, like or a line of code inside of a line of code. That's what really matters.
I've never programmed in a language that thought that way.
To be fair, Python is a pretty friendly language, and being nice and clean with your indentation is, I mean, well, one, necessary because that's how the program is interpreted, and two, like, it's nice and aesthetic and makes it easier to read.
Well, every other language that I'm familiar with, you set up your tabs so everything tabs really nicely and cleanly, but that's just, I don't know, the way I've been familiar with like C++ and basically all the programming I've ever done, I've always done it with tabs. That was the way I was taught. I've never touched Python, so.
Oh my god, I got it working. Why was that so frustrating? This is CAD thing. Okay, now we're gonna make a dive.
Where does my... There we go, that was the screen I was looking for.
Yeah, my suspicion is that that is probably good advice for Python.
Whoa.
What just happened?
Ooh.
Catch it.
So why is this happening? Huh. Completely missed the dot.
Yeah, and it moved out of the way before it hit it. Okay, so that could be. Why is this?
I mean, I guess I did change the offset, but I only changed the Z, so it shouldn't have had anything to do with the tool post.
Let me think. No, yeah, I shouldn't have changed anything. What? That's weird.
Tell me you're supporting the tool.
It was supporting itself, sort of. Like it wasn't. Oh shoot! Why is the bed so high? How'd that happen?
This might be another offset thing. I would just get the bed out of the way.
Hope it didn't smash my switch.
Yeah, I just get it way out of the way.
Yeah, I moved it down. Do
we need to sacrifice a chicken?
Weird because it's offset in time. The audio and video don't track.
Nope.
Yeah, I've done what I can to reduce the.
It's okay. No, it's funny watching it.
Because we're hearing it ahead of the video.
Dare I try to pick the tool again?
I mean, picking the tool might work.
Yeah, just make sure your Z is plenty out of the way.
Oh god, that sounds terrible.
Do you know what would probably be a useful thing? A fake tool.
A fake tool.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A tool that has the dimensions of the tool you want to test with, but not with the real thing.
Whoa. I gotta fix that.
Okay, I saw it. I don't think
Yeah, I
you're
know.
retracting far enough.
Yeah, I figured that out.
Yeah, sorry. This is
Yeah, because I changed all the offsets. I know.
Oh, that's okay. Well, I mean, it could also just be that those wings are longer than the originals.
Those are. I did not change the length of the wings.
Oh, okay.
You know, I don't remember. Oh, the white forward and backward thing is all commented out. That's why.
I think the wings are longer than the original wings. Yeah, they are.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's probably why.
Yeah.
It's because the wings we're not pulling the tool all the way out.
Right. Oh, I wonder if that has something to do with why it crashed earlier.
I think it actually might. Because the way we saw it get pulled out is kind of, I saw it get smooshed a little bit, which is kind of what happened right before it got put back.
That's probably it.
Sorry, the hardware has not been validated with the software.
I'm sorry, your software is invalid?
Has not been validated.
Does that mean it's invalid?
Just means it hasn't been tested against the Firmware hardware.
No, it has not.
Have you tried turning it off and back on again?
I know, I turn it off and on again.
I said.
I like Roy.
Oh, that was slightly nerve-wracking.
Welcome to my world. Oh.
Alrighty. Well, I'm definitely not laying down any filament tonight, so I think I've got everything in place to lay down filament tomorrow, though.
Yay.
Is there anything else you can think of I should do beforehand? I would like to get the wiper in the right spot, but I don't think it's going to be long enough. I'm going to need to make some sort of tool or offset plate or something.
Oh. Oh, yeah. Somebody mentioned that. I think HGB mentioned it.
Yeah. So.
Alrighty.
But,
I'm about to turn into a pumpkin for the evening. So
me too.
All right, everyone. Good night.
See you later.
Cheers.
So, before you head out, is there anything you can think of that I should do before? That was one thing. I can't get the PID to actually tune for the tool for some reason. It just soft fails or whatever, where it doesn't give me any error or whatever. So
the heater just does not heat up at all.
Oh no, I can heat the tool if I give it a temperature. That's not a problem.
Okay.
The issue is if I try to run the auto tune, it just does nothing. Just simply nothing happens. It doesn't give me any warnings.
I don't know. That could also be a Duet 3 thing.
This is a pretty big hot end assembly, isn't it? Feels good though. I don't feel it move around.
Okay, yeah, it should be rock solid. It should not wiggle at all.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, phew. Ah.
In a future iteration of the machine, have you ever given any thought about putting the tools in the back?
I thought about it. Why did I put them in the front? There was a reason.
Probably just because you have like the motor plates and everything back there, which would make it a little bit more difficult to mount the posts, but
yeah, it was partly that, and partly the bending radius of the, I wanted the bending radius of the remote lock to be a little more gentle, but you could totally do it. Like, in fact, you could probably do it on the existing Jubilee if you swapped a few things.
yeah, I was kind of thinking about it, like what would happen, like maybe if you just flipped the entire bar around, maybe. Well, that might be too crazy. I'm not sure.
Not the bar, but just the thing on the bar. Oh, interesting.
I think it would almost be better to have the tool lock in the front and, you know, and the tools in the back. But
yeah,
that's not a configuration change that I plan on making. I'm going to live with the way it is. For better if it works.
Yeah, I'm probably personally okay with it. It's just a little bit inconvenient with like lengths of tool wiring, but
yeah, that's I don't. And the other thing that kind of I don't really like is the idea of having to run the filament all the way to the front of the machine.
Oh, my filament is coming in from the side.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Maybe if you could snap some pictures, if you're able to snap pictures of that. I'm not sure if you have it available or not, but
you know, I have one somewhere in Discord. Somebody was talking about from meeting.
By the way, Josh, what do you think about this for the fan?
1 second, let me type in this thing and holy crap. Oh man, that's gonna be awesome. Are you gonna demultiplex it?
So what I'm thinking I might do in the very beginning is just make it work on one tool. But what I would really love to do is figure out a way to pipe that into the tool area, and then when you go to pick it up, it have some sort of like ports it matches up to, and it'll take that down to the actual print area.
Oh yeah.
And that way you have one fan
for everything.
Yeah.
Man, I think there's somebody on Twitter whose name evades me right now. Brendan Build, who I think was playing around with that on the E3D platform.
Oh, really? Yeah, I got the idea from the CPAP one, but since I don't have a CPAP, I was just going to use that monstrosity. I tested it out on the Duet 2 on my big box just to see if it could drive the fan, and it drives it, no problem.
Oh, cool. Okay, I posted an old picture from Discord of what my setup looks like. This is, yeah, this is a little bit weird. This is the one that I actually do care about not getting particularly moist. That's the dissolvable filament.
I'll be right there. I gotta.
Yeah, no worries.
I forgot to do a chore, and I'm doing it really quick. Thanks for popping onto Discord tonight. It was a good day to pop onto Discord.
No worries. It was my it's one of my last free days when I have this time.
So you actually teach classes?
No, I'm well, okay, not exact. No, for now, but maybe in a year or two I might get that chance.
Gotcha.
One day. That would be sweet.
Okay. I see what you're saying. What I want to do is see the problem is what happens when you get 4 tools. You're gonna
Then it gets a
have
little
to
bit weird.
yeah, you're gonna have to run it to the front, otherwise they're all gonna get tangled up.
Yeah, so I think what I was thinking about doing, which I haven't yet done, is looking at various containers. Well, okay, so I think what you could do is basically side mount them on the outside, staggered, like E3D. However, I think there's a way to do it where you can get a rubber gasket. You can get it to seal into a box with a rubber gasket on the side. It just ends up being kind of side wonky looking. That was the current plan.
Let me show you. So, put this in Discord really quick. I am operating on this machine, so it's going to look messy.
Surgery.
But this is my current printer, and you can see the spools behind it. So what I actually have planned is, let me show you another picture. Take a picture. There we go. So I have a bunch of these plastic boxes.
Oh yeah.
And I've done the measurements, and I can get 5 normal spools side by side in there.
Oh,
and
that's a good size.
Yeah, and I plan on having so right behind the printers, I wanted to put a rack of 4 to 6 of these containers, where I have like different kinds of filaments, and I'll have them labeled, and then I can just come and connect them up to the printers, and they'll all be in dry boxes. So
it's like a ceiling drop.
Yeah, the problem I have is how am I going to get to the front of the printer with the filament? Unless maybe I do something where I have build something that hangs over top of the printer, and then
that would be a way to do it, even like a